What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Wormy, and I'm back with another video. And considering that Ubisoft's fiscal year 2024 to 2025 ended in March, people have been waiting to see just how awful it truly was. And well, considering that shortly after the investor call and the reports came out, their stock took a massive 18% plunge, I could honestly come out here and tell you guys it wasn't that good of a time.
Oh no. Anyway, last week...
And who's really shocked by any of this, considering when you start breaking down what was actually brought out this year by Ubisoft, it was a bunch of flops left, right, and center. And their main thing that they tried to hinge their entire argument on why they didn't fail that badly was, well, Assassin's Creed Shadows. But when you actually start sitting down and looking at what they said about Assassin's Creed Shadows, even though they were trying to go around there and boast that this game was having 3 million concurrent players at all times, we have yet to actually hear a single ounce of what the actual sales data is. Even when it came to their actual earnings call, not a single peep about their actual sales data. In fact, when you scroll on down to where it actually talks about Assassin's Creed Shadows, all they ever talk about is, well, the amount of people that have logged in since launch, and also that the game is, well, a 91 out of 10 across first-party stores.
Oh, good for you!
Yeah, not a single peep of actual sales data or any recognition on the sales information. And that's actually very important to note because, again, this was supposed to be a game that was going to save Ubisoft and bring Ubisoft out of the pit of a potential bankruptcy and ultimately show the chuds that Ubisoft still has it. And even after trying to obfuscate numbers and trying to prove that Assassin's Creed Shadows wasn't a massive flop, considering it had a larger player base over on Steam than compared to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but when you sit down and start breaking down those numbers, some sad realities start to peek out, such as back when Odyssey came out back in 2019. Yeah, Steam was a lot smaller place compared to what it is now.
Oh no, what happened? Oh no, how terrible. That's just awful. How terrible. Oh no.
Or you have the sad reality that when it actually comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows, nobody was really excited for this game. Yes, you have a bunch of people trying to go out there and act like Japan never actually cared about what was going on in the game itself, but there's also contrary information that points to, yes, Japan really wasn't excited about this game, varying from Shoei Kondo coming out here and even breaking down the fact that no, there are very few Japanese citizens actually excited for this, where you have calls from even politicians to have this game brought up before their diet, where inevitably it truly was brought up within their diet and was not talked about in a fond manner, mentioning that this is going to help incite more nuanced streamers to come over to Japan and basically wreak havoc all over the place. All this then inevitably insisted that Ubisoft has to put out a day one patch trying to remove at least some of the things that the Japanese audience was annoyed with. And all this comes even after Ubisoft decided that it would be a smart idea to go out there and try to put out an apology letter that ultimately boiled down to just shut the hell up and take it.
How about no?
But hey, we can even continue going on down the list of numerous inaccuracies within this video game that would have pissed off just about anybody. Even foliage not being accurate to both the time and season, considering, well, when you look at this picture right here, you end up having watermelons and sakuras blooming at the exact same time, which is completely impossible in the real world. There was a numerous amount of reasons as to why this game was going to inevitably flop and why people were always going to run away from it, whether that's even Ubisoft themselves trying to be cheeky and act like parkouring isn't that big of a deal within the Assassin's Creed franchise when it was always a massive thing. Even being able to climb trees and mountains was always huge for this franchise, and well, when you have Ubisoft coming out here acting like parkour isn't this huge deal, yeah, that's really telling you just what they thought about the players or the actual overall market itself. But one of the key things that a lot of people are trying to hinge this entire argument on, that Ubisoft was definitely successful here with Assassin's Creed Shadows and that Assassin's Creed Shadows actually sold well, is, well, this picture right here. Now, this is a snippet from the actual financial report in which it reads as followed. Full year 2025 to 2026, the company is introducing its financial targets for 2025 to 2026 and expects a stable net booking year on year, approximately break even non-IFRS operating income and negative free cash flow following the closing of the Tencent transaction. The group expects to maintain a consolidated net debt position of around 0. The fiscal year 2025 to 2026 guidance will benefit from strong back catalog that will notably rely on Assassin's Creed Shadows and the release of Siege X, which is expected to strongly grow franchise net bookings, regular partnerships, as well as the following lineup: Anon 117, PAX Romance, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time Remake, Rainbow Six Mobile, and The Division Resurgence. Other titles will be announced at a later stage. Beyond 2025 to 2026, the group expects to return to positive non-IFRS operating income and free cash flow generation in fiscal year 27, and to see significant content coming from its largest brands in fiscal year 27 and 28. And when you actually read this, there's a lot of people trying to make this a bigger deal than it actually is, as you have individuals trying to indicate that this proves that Assassin's Creed Shadows is solely important to Ubisoft and definitely did sell a whole lot of copies. Why? But in reality, all this is them saying, hey, we hope that a lot of this stuff's actually going to work out, and we hope that actually Assassin's Creed Shadows will end up producing a profit, even though we've openly said that it needs to sell around 10 million copies just to break even, and that's before both of the delays that were announced. Yes, they're hoping that it actually does well. They're hoping that it actually produces money over time. This is no indication that the game actually sold anything, and it's actually to the contrary, because yes, maybe these fiscal reports are legally binding, but in reality, these are always just love letters to the investors as they try to convince investors not to pull out their money and not to get scared off, because they go around massaging the truth as much as possible to try to make themselves sound a whole lot stronger than they truly are. Almost like we've seen other companies do this over the years, such as, well, maybe Disney, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Ultimately, what came out of this is just further confirmation that Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Shadows was a monumental flop for them. It didn't save them, it didn't pull them out of bankruptcy like everybody said they were going to do, and ultimately hurt them in the long run. Heck, we didn't even start digging into their actual marketing campaigns and brand deals that ranged in prices well over $2.1 million, and we didn't even discuss the sole fact that Hassan Piker was a part of that marketing campaign, got a premier deal to actually promote said game, a sponsorship link, and ultimately that flopped because every time he played the game, his audience left. But I mean, siding with communists and trying to get terrorist supporters to actually purchase your game probably is a smart idea, considering just how highly progressive Ubisoft is. But hey, you play stupid games, you're gonna win a stupid prize. But I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, shout out friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.